Hello everyone, my name is Mirna, and on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, we want to welcome you to Mindalia live streaming, where thousands of people around the world gather to see the lectures and interviews organized by Mindalia TV. Today with us, we have, one more time, Angel Ribo. He is a CEO consultant, TV host, international public speaker, and president of the Wisdom for Kids Foundation. He's going to be interviewing Orly Amor. Orly is a certified behavioral expert. She has dedicated her life to impacting the lives of thousands of people by helping them realize their own mission-based goals and dreams. Her extensive experience has made her indispensable as a coach to many influential corporate leaders. Before starting with them, we want to remind you that Mindalia TV is a non-profit organization. Our only mission is to share information that can help raise the level of consciousness around the world and that you can help us. How? Just by liking this video, leaving us a positive comment down below, or sharing this content with someone that you know it's going to be benefit for what we're going to be talking here today. Also, we want to remind you that while we are live streaming, we have the active chat. That is a great tool for you to interact with us. You are going to have the chance to ask questions to Orly, whom at the end of the conference will be so kind and answer. Last but not least, great news is that Mindalia TV is broadcasting in Spanish, English, and Portuguese. So if you know the languages, you are more than welcome to visit us in our platforms. Now, without further delay, I'm going to be leaving you with Angel and Orly. Angel, Orly, the screen is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mirna.
Thank you so much, Mirna. And well, it's a big blessing for everybody and for Mindalia TV's audience to have you with us tonight. Orly, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. You know, the first thing when I was listening to you, sometimes we tend to think that people at corporate, their lives are perfect. You know, the leaders, you know, she introduced you as someone helping business leaders. I resonate with that a lot, but I would like to ask you, do they suffer more or less in a different way than normal people on the streets? What do you think, Orly?
You know, that's a great question. I think that, you know, what is forgotten, that is just that we're all human and we go through the same struggles as everybody else. Some make more money, some make less money, but everybody has a life, and life is a process. So I believe that everybody goes through the same struggles, just at different times and at different levels. It's always the same. We're human.
And this process, do you think that this process is something that comes to us? Is that something that we plan? How do you see that happening with these leaders?
I think that it's about recognizing and learning from past experiences, mistakes, if we call them mistakes, because it's a process. And inevitably, we're going to make mistakes. We're going to learn from them. And as long as there's lesson learned and there's a way to pay it forward, I believe that that's the reason for us having a process, and it's all about a part of being human.
What is that thing that makes you the most passionate?
What is the thing that makes me more passionate?
Oh, yeah.
Personally? I have vowed my personal mission in 2010 that I will, and I told that to my business coach at the time, that I would like to impact the lives of 200 million people in 10 to 20 years. And he said, no, you're going to have to choose a date and a time. And I said, okay, I'll meet you halfway. I'm going to do it by the 24th of April, 2025. And that's been my mission since. And now we're at 47.2 million. So I'm really excited about the journey.
How do you measure your outreach, your impact? How do you do it, Orly?
I've been a public speaker all over the world for the past 16 years, but about 8 years ago, I encountered a circumstance that basically altered a little bit my life, where I had to do the business of public speaking. I was the creator of the Business in a Box for public speakers, and I was wondering how I was going to do it at the time. But then this idea came up where I was asked to be a coach. And I said, oh, well, maybe that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to help public speakers get out there, make the money, be in front of the masses. And I don't care how much money they make. I want them to make money. It's $100 billion a year industry. There's money to be made. But if we count how many people we're impacting, whether through social media or who we're in front of, we're making an impact. And so all of that together counts. just like with LinkedIn and all of our contacts on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is that we use as platforms altogether, we're at 47.2 million.
And do you think that everybody's aware, is conscious enough that they really have something to say to the world?
I think everybody has a story. I do believe that. And I think that if you take it to the grave, you're doing a disservice to humanity. I remember when I first started public speaking, I was not public speaking in the terms of motivational speaking. I was in property management, and I spoke on that subject matter for a very long time. And then somebody asked me to speak at a women's shelter, and I refused to do so. And she said that I have to tell my story. And I said, no, I do not have to tell my story. I don't want to tell my story. And it was coming from a place of being judged or scrutinized, and from being shame, from feeling shame. And I didn't want to share my story. I was in hiding pretty much for 16 years. And then I finally said yes. I'll just make it short for you. I finally said yes. And at the time, I spoke at this women's shelter, and I was told to just tell my story. And after I told my story, something happened that was not usual for me, because I was coming from corporate America, and telling my story was not something I wanted to do. So by me telling the story and getting off the stage, I was hugged, I was loved on, I was thanked for giving them hope, I was thanked for so many things, and there was a very overwhelming feeling where one woman came up to me, and she was really crying profusely. And I tried to calm her down, and I said, honey, you got to calm down. Everything's going to be okay. She said, no, you don't understand. I said, no, I do understand. Please calm down, breathe, do whatever it takes, And she's like, no, you do not understand. And back and forth we went, and everybody around us was kind of quieting down to listen in on the conversation, where at one point or another, she yelled, no, you don't understand. And I was taken aback. I have goosebumps telling you this right now. And she basically took out a piece of paper out of her pocket, and she showed it to me, and she said, you see, this is how I was going to kill myself this morning. I actually don't even remember driving from my house to the shelter, but I heard you speak, and I want to live. I just need you to show me how. And let me tell you, Angel, this was like a 180 for my life, because not only did I say wow, but I didn't say wow in the sense like, whoa, that's impressive. No, that was wow. I just saved a life. And then I realized what is the power of sharing your story, no matter how big, small, important, unimportant, insignificant you think it is, it may just save someone's life. So at the end of the day, yes, we all have a story, and I believe we should all share it. I hope that answers your question.
Oh, yes, you do, because I try to put myself all the time in the boots of people who are watching Mindalia TV's videos and interviews, and everybody has a story, but it's difficult to get out there, and where do I start from? And so yeah, we get all these testimonials sometimes that our audience comes to us and shares some amazing stories, but how do I get out from my small box, small life, and for the first time share it? Where do I go to share it? What would be my starting point? What would you suggest, Orly?
Well, if you've never spoken before, I would test your story at Toastmasters or something. An organization like Toastmasters has its purpose, and it's about giving people confidence and about learning about public speaking, learning a few basic skill sets that you do need in public speaking. I remember when my first mentor told me to go to Toastmasters, because I hired him as a coach, and he said, you got to join Toastmasters. And I said, are you kidding me? I'm not joining another MLM that sells toasters. And he was laughing so hard, and he's like, what? And I'm like, you're probably sending me to one of those meetings that I have to sign up for, and I'm going to sell toasters. He's like, no, what are you talking about? And not everybody knows what Toastmasters is. So Toastmasters is a wonderful organization that helps people with self-confidence and public speaking and presentation skills. So I would advise somebody to go there and start there, because it's such a nonprofit organization. It costs, I think, like $6 or $7 a month to belong to that organization. And it's worth it for somebody that's just starting out to practice, to learn, to get feedback, to learn to get feedback. Because sometimes it's hurtful when it's personal and we want to share something and then we get bad feedback and we're thinking, oh my God, I'm never speaking again. Not only is it the second biggest fear to death, might as well not speak at all. A lot of people have that fear. So this is a great opportunity to get over your fear. And once you get a little bit of practice into that, I would suggest you go out there and actually speak wherever you can. There are many organizations that allow you to come and speak and practice your speech. One of the things that I would say to you is at one point or another, when you're paid to speak, don't practice on a paid audience. Practice on a non-paid audience so that you can build your reputation and your self-confidence.
What makes those, I mean, obviously, maybe we know a lot about Toastmasters, so we know what it is, but what do you think it makes it easy for people that right now are still, in let's say, maybe not in pain, but in doubt of, trying to share their story with the world?
So sorry. I'm hearing some feedback.
Yeah.
You're too loud, babe. Sorry. Please cut that off.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
I just couldn't take that anymore. Anyway, I think that you have a very good question there. And the one answer to that would be, don't think of it as about you. Think of it as a bigger than you type of mission. When you think about others, when you think of serving, and that's what I usually say, think of serving others by your story. Don't think about the technicality of, am I a good speaker, am I a bad speaker? My tagline is, if you have a message, somebody's willing to pay for it. So think of that. Think of whose life you can change just by sharing your story, simply sharing your story. So just think about it as bigger than you.
Okay. And Toastmaster is an organization that they meet like weekly. They meet everyone in the world. Do you know where to find them?
In the world. It's totally everywhere in the world. It's in 100 and something countries. What I would say is that if there's a club in your area, a 1, 2, 3, there are many, just check it out. But some of them meet once a week, some twice a month, some once a month. It depends on the culture, the area, the region, and the demographics. I mean, you have to have a meeting that people show up to, or else you'll be speaking to yourself. And so it depends.
So you basically go there, and they are like, they allow you to share your story, and they are not judgmental
Absolutely.
at all, and everybody's in the same condition as you, in the same position as you.
Well, like in everything, if you started a new job tomorrow morning, everybody that's there started just like you. They had their first day at the job, and there's always somebody there to mentor you because they need to show you the job. And then there's somebody there to ask you questions after a while. So you become the expert, and you're going to mentor others. And that's the whole deal about paying it forward, isn't it? You learn something, then you teach it to someone else, and that person teaches it to someone else. So in Toastmasters, it's a welcoming environment. It's a safe environment to be in and get feedback on your speaking, and also develop a skill set. So my mentor at the time told me, listen, after you finish your 10 speeches, you don't have to be in Toastmasters anymore. But I stayed around because of the pay it forward part. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed being around these people, and I enjoyed practicing my speeches in front of people that'll give me of course, it's a subjective type of feedback. It's still feedback, and we welcome it. So you learn how to welcome feedback, which will serve you in the long haul if you're going to do public speaking as a professional.
Awesome. Okay, so we're trying to give these people that are not out there yet like a foundation. Okay, so we want them to feel comfortable. We want them to, because I think that intrinsically everybody wants to help people, but how to do it, that's the thing. How to do it. Okay, so we already have everybody lined up at the Toastmasters, local Toastmasters meetings. Fantastic. All right, can anybody do that? Have you ever faced a situation in which there was someone extremely shy who sharing that story was so painful that they would stop after the second sentence? sorry to picture this so dramatically, but we really want to make it like actionable for everybody today.
So yes, the answer is yes. There have been people that have just literally were so scared that they stopped after the first time they got an opportunity to speak. What I would say to people though is don't quit. Tony Robbins gives a beautiful analogy. If you have a child and I tell you that that child will not walk, what would you say to me? And you would tell me, no, come on, that kid is gonna walk. He's gonna crawl, and then he's gonna fall a few times, and he's gonna grab onto things. He's gonna fall a couple more times, but he's gonna walk no matter what. And that's only because humans have this resiliency and perseverance. And as long as you have that perseverance and the desire and the will to have this talent, which is a skill set that is learned. I tell my clients, I'm a business coach for public speakers. So I tell my clients, there's 3 things I cannot teach you. No matter what I do, I cannot teach you. I can't teach you to have a personality. I can't teach you authenticity. And I can't teach you charisma. Those 3 things you need to have on your own. And they have to be inherent. And let's say you don't have these skill set or you don't have them inherently, then you're just a workshop speaker. You will need probably some tools like a PowerPoint presentation or those type of speaking engagements that you don't really need to have a personality. You just have to have a good message and some good material to share. And so then the question remains, can anybody do this? Absolutely. Anybody that has the willpower and also the willingness to serve, to help others. Basically, a lot of people tell me, well, I want to help the world and I want to help humanity. Well, how do you start doing that? And I would say, start sharing your story. Start sharing your skill set. You can share your story to empower or motivate or inspire. Then there is where you have a talent, like you know how to do sales, or you have a talent in leadership, or you have a talent in organizational skills. And that when you share those skills, then you're helping others in those domains. So there's a plethora of things you can do with public speaking. And the fun part about it is that you can do it one to many and you can do it one to one. So it's a good concept to embrace.
And do you think that is there an ingredient to that story that makes it more special, that it's going to attract more people to your, let's say, to your world or to your tribe or to your community?
I don't think so. I like to tell people come into our lives for a reason, a season, or a life. Yes. And we don't know sometimes what the reason and the season is going to be, but we certainly can think about what's the reasoning behind it, which is either something to teach us, something to teach about us, or something to teach about ourselves and how to see the world. So I think that the important thing to remember is that we're here to serve. That's where I think that this is going. If people will ask me, I will tell them, if you have a message, that's really all that matters. You have to have a message and you want to be sharing it. If you have the willingness to share your message, then that's where you should be. Public speaking is the way.
I think that there are a few business owners that are also thinking, I have a story, but if I have to speak before people, obviously I want to generate revenue, want to generate more clients. Mm-hmm. Can I create like a speech with a story of a business, or it has to be necessarily the message of myself?
No, it does not have to be the message of yourself. It can be just a message to a client, a potential client. Like, what would you say to a potential client? And if you could do it in a room of 20 potential clients, you might not get them all, but you might get 4, 5 out of 20 that will become clients. If you know how to do the business side of it, you can definitely get clients through public speaking. And it's just the most beautiful thing, because now you're doing one to many instead of one to one, and you're teaching something. What makes you unique? Where do you come from? How did you get started? What's the message, the vision, the mission of your company that people should buy from you? And literally, people are not buying from you, they're buying you. They're buying you, the entrepreneur, the leader of this community, of this tribe, of this company, and it's all relevant to what you do and who you service. So either I become a client or I become a team member. Still good.
Oh, absolutely. That's right. When people are on stage and they are delivering this amazing story, let's put it this way, what do you think in the way that they do it? What do you think that makes a big difference? What makes a big difference between the ones that have mastered the way to deliver their message and the ones that are still on their path to deliver it masterfully?
I think this is a great point that you're bringing up because, as a business coach for public speakers, as a speaker myself, and as someone who has interviewed over 3,000 event planners in the past 4 years because of my book that's coming out, it's very, very important to understand the thin line that there is no more experts, no more gurus, nobody's all that anymore. What makes you relatable is your authentic message to the public. Now, whether you're bringing something that's valuable to their life now or later does not matter. What are you doing it for? Are you doing it to sell only? Then I'm going to be in the audience and I'm going to feel that I'm being sold to. And is that what you want me to feel? Or do you want me to actually get your message? Do you want me to actually be empowered by your message? And do you really want me to buy from you? Because I don't buy from people who sell to me. I buy from people who relate to me. Does that make sense? And so if it does, people relate now to the speaker. So you got to be authentic in your message. I was just talking to one of my clients the other day. I'm like, there's a lot of people out there who promise to make you $1 million, but they've never made $1 million themselves. So who are you really learning from? So you gotta weigh the message. You gotta weigh the person you're listening to. That's why there's no more experts, gurus, all that stuff. So you, Mr. Entrepreneur, if you want to get clients, what is it that you need to do? You need to be relatable. You need to come to serve, not to sell. And when you do that, and you do it authentically and properly, because a lot of people give a PowerPoint presentation and they go, well, I have something to show you. May I, after they give you valuable information? Yes, 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 wonderful. I also have, can I share with you what I have for you today, what I do, and etc. And then they have this PowerPoint presentation and they show you all these services that you're going to get. At the end of the day, it's a $20,000 deal. And just today, but just for today, I'm giving it to you for $4,997. So I only have about 5 packages like that I'm going to give out today. And that's being sold to. And people are no longer listening to that because that's all they heard for many, many years. And what people, I'm talking about public speakers and entrepreneurs, what they forget is that the industry has changed so much in the past decade alone, has changed dramatically, that if they're not keeping with the time and they're not here to serve and they're just here to sell, they might be shooting themselves in the foot and not doing so well.
Exactly. The question that was coming to me was, okay, so I have this story. My friends and my family and my relatives have, pushed me to do this. I have been on this Toastmasters for a while. I've done some, I've delivered my story on some stages, but how do I make money? Because I want to serve people, and they want to serve more people and more people and more people, but I don't have a business. It's just me, and I'm talking and I'm sharing my story. But so I'm going to the other, to the other side of the spectrum, from trying to sell something to not having anything to sell. So I would like to help as many people as possible to know, okay, so how do I get to having a business from that story that I'm able to tell?
That's a great question. And the industry itself, you got to know the business side of it. So you don't have to know the business or be many to have a business. You can have a solo business. But let's do a little game. You and I are going to play a little imaginary game. You and I are going to open a store. Are you with me on this?
Angel, I'm opening the store. We are opening a store together.
Opening a brick and mortar. So we're going to find a beautiful space. We're going to actually be open for business. And here's what we're going to need. We're going to need a key to the front door. We're going to need the hours of operation on the door. We might need a sign over the door that says the name of our store. Inside the store, we're going to need probably an alarm system or security camera system. We're going to need a cash register and probably one of those swipey thingies for credit cards. We're going to need insurance for our store. We're going to need a bank account. We're also going to need a bookkeeper because you and I don't like to do that job, right? Did I tell you what we're selling in the store?
You overwhelmed me, Orly.
But did I tell you what we're selling?
No.
That's the business of public speaking. If you don't have the infrastructure, if you don't have the right forms, the right ways, the right scripts, all the stuff that you need to open your store, nobody's going to buy from you. That's number one. Number two, there is something called my value. I think I'm worth so much. And then there's what's called industry value. So do you know what the industry value for you is as opposed to somebody else who's a speaker? What about if you're a beginner? What if you're seasoned? What if you're a corporate speaker? Those are three different prices, and you need to know that. So it depends on each person, what level they're at, where they're at in their business of public speaking. And that's the way that they can learn about it, practice it, and then scale from there. Just like any business, we bring up our prices. So it's all relevant to each person and where they're at in their journey of public speaking.
Okay. So then they are making money out of speaking, so they are getting money, they're being paid to speak on stages.
Correct.
Exactly. Perfect. So we already have, all these people that have all those stories, they want to make a living. We have just helped them, Orly, you and I, we just helped them to open their store. They're starting to sell on what they're just selling themselves on stage, right? They're sharing
Correct.
their story, and it's an amazing story. Okay.
Correct.
So, and then they will start traveling. I guess they will start traveling and going to places.
Immediately, it doesn't have to wait. Yes.
Okay, so they start traveling. What if? What's going to happen? I mean, are there people making a living just out of speaking on a stage, nothing else?
Absolutely. So, but those people have been speaking for a very long time because they have already created an amazing business model that they don't need to seek out event planners anymore. Some just are being called to speak. And if you're a beginner, you need to know that in public speaking, there's at least 6 or 7 funnels of ways of making money through public speaking. If you're an entrepreneur, there's even 7 ways you can make money in public speaking. You got to know the side of the business, though. You got to know that you're going to need certain forms. And yes, there are people that are making a full-time job at it, but there's nothing wrong with making multiple streams of revenue through public speaking. And I'm going to share with you a couple of statistics.
Please
It's
do.
$100 billion a year industry, $100 billion a year industry in the world. And in America alone, you live here in the States, right? So between the States and Canada, let me blow your mind a little bit. There are 64,000 events a day in America alone, Canada, United States, that pay public speakers. Every single day, 64,000, yet many of public speakers don't make $100,000 a year. Amazing story. When I first started in public speaking over 20 years ago, but 16 years ago, I started more on the motivational side and going to teach how to close the deal 98% of the time through profiling in corporate America. And it's really impressive that I was talking to my friends who are speakers, and I told them, I said, the public speakers minimum wage, they should be making $150,000 a year. Every single one of my friends were laughing at me. I was tripling that amount then, which is 16 years ago. And I still told them that 150 is only minimum wage. And they all laughed because they used to tell me, well, some of us make 70,000, some of us make 50,000, some of us 80,000, but you're talking about 100, that's minimum. That's a very minute number of us. And 150, you're out of your mind. And that's the funny story, is that a year ago exactly, in June 2017, the NSA, the National Speakers Association, came out with an article that said that the average public speaker makes $177,000 a year. Do you know, Angel, what I did with that article? I
Of course.
sent it to every single person that ever laughed at me 12 years ago, 16 years ago. You understand? So it's not the lack of opportunity. It's the lack of people doing what they need to do this job. It's a job. It's work. It's not easy. Nobody comes and knocks on your door anymore. You're not John Maxwell. You're not Tony Robbins. You're not going to get knocked on your door. You're not Les Brown, Lisa Nichols, all the big guys. You cannot be them, but be yourself and go out there and let people know who you are properly. Then you and ethically, because that there's this code of ethics even probably in public speaking. And if you don't do it ethically, you can be blacklisted on the market, and you don't want that. So you gotta learn the business side.
Wow, I was thinking 64,000 a day. So you said a day, right? Okay, so then the question is, okay, so there's work for everybody here. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. The second is, why do people need to be spoken so much? Does it make sense to you? Have you ever thought about, do the people need to be what?
They need to be educated. You see, I cannot learn in school all the talents and all the industries that can serve my business, whatever my business may be. My business can be just, I own a restaurant. Why do I need to be spoken to? Well, maybe there's a way that I can market my restaurant. Maybe there's some social media tools that I can use. And those things I need to go learn about. So I'll go listen to a speaker who's versed in social media, or just on LinkedIn, or just on Facebook. And it's good to know, like, I have 4 businesses. And having 4 businesses doesn't mean that every single business needs public speaking for. But I do need information, skill sets that were acquired by other people, that I'm going to get the shortcut of the learning curve. And that's what this is all.
Disculpad, excuse me. Sorry, I was going to speak in Spanish. Sorry about that. It looks like we've had some issues with Orly. My screen just got frozen, so we guess that it's an issue with the internet connection. I just checked with our production team. They have the same issue. They see the same thing from their side. So we'll just wait for a few seconds to see if Orly can reconnect with us and we can continue this wonderful, this amazing, so interesting conversation with her, and help you guys to develop this skill and know more about this world. So yeah, apparently, yeah, she's not with us anymore. So hopefully she will be back in a few seconds. Thank you for your patience. I think she was touching on very interesting points. What we were trying to do here with you I was just trying to follow the journey of someone that has a story. And you very often you go to these family meetings, and you go to those places in which everybody tells you, hey, you do it very well, you have this amazing story, you should share it with the world, you should share it with a lot of people. So I wanted to help you guys to to go from where you are today to the place in which you are able to see the light, and at the end of the tunnel, and you can make a living out of this ability to share that story. And Orly, as she said, she's helped so many people and so many business leaders to do this, that she can definitely help us conduct or help us go from where we are today to the place in which we can make a living being on a stage and sharing our story. And that those things that we are passionate about. I know that our team is trying to contact her to make sure that we have her back. So let's wait and see what happens with her. Hopefully, she's gonna be back soon. It's a good sign that she disconnected. It means that her connection. Yeah, she's back. Awesome, wonderful. So
I didn't know what happened.
It's okay. Whatever happens it's okay. So we have you back. I was just trying to explain and and basically summarize everything that we had been trying to do, and obviously
Okay.
being very thankful about everything that you shared with us. So yeah, we were very close to just wrapping it up for this first part of the interview, which is my part, and then to try to answer as many questions as possible from the audience. So the last question was, you were saying, you were basically telling us the importance of being a spoken and the importance of learning those skills that not everybody knows. That's the message you were trying to get across, right?
And shortening the learning curve.
Sure.
I mean, you have experience in what you're doing, and you've been speaking all over the world, and you've been doing such amazing stuff. Well, you are going to teach people how to do it also faster, because you already made the mistakes, or you already lived through some of the glitches in the industry of your industry or your message. And so now you're going to be able to give it to somebody where they don't have to go through all that learning curve. They just get it from you. And that's a huge part of the world right now that we are living in, where everything has to be now, everything is instant gratification, and so on and so forth.
Okay, excellent. Let me make a little bit of a break here, because I'm having a hard time seeing you. So it's the resolution of your screen is not good. So let me check with Mirna. How are we doing? Are you seeing it well? Are you seeing it right?
Thank you, guys. Definitely super entertained with all the interview and the conversation. I do see Orly a little bit blurry, and the sound is not optimal.
Okay.
I still think that we may be able to get at least question.
Okay. If there was any other internet connection or something that on your side, or something, I don't know, any other connections at your home or something that you could try to, whatever, if you could do anything.
I can't.
You've done it. Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We just have to ask the question. Okay, so
I hear you.
Exactly. So thank you. I'm sure that you ask a lot of questions every day. So let me ask you something, because definitely we want to make sure that everybody is able to reach out to you, everybody's able to find you online. Could you please share which are the easiest way to find you online, please, Orly?
Sure. They can go through my website, orlyamor.com. So ORLYAMOR.com. And they can actually just email me at orly@orlyamor.com, ORLY@ORLYAMOR.com. They can actually even text me or call me directly on my line, 917-515-6803. But all that information is through my website, so it's easy to connect with me.
Awesome. Let's go to the questions. Question number one. Okay, so what is people out there craving for? What do you think they want to hear?
I don't think that there's a particular message. Everybody is at a different path in their life where they're following something, and there's always a speaker that will be able to speak about that. So there's no craving per se. It's just about what is your message, and if you do have one, somebody's willing to listen to it, and somebody's willing to pay for it.
And let me make you a follow-up question. Even if you're talking to an audience that belongs to the same organization?
Yes. What's missing in the industry is diversity. So they don't always want to bring the same type of people. It gets boring. So it's nice to bring somebody that's completely out of the ordinary, like bringing somebody for an IT conference that talks about, I don't know, walking your dog. It would be completely off the charts, and people will still hire you because it's diverse. It's something new. It's something interesting to them. You never know what that is.
Awesome. Next question. How important is physical appearance in this business? That's a great question.
Like just like in any business, how credible do you want to look? Do you want to look like you just like a bum off the street, or do you want to look like you are presentable and credible for the knowledge that you have? It all goes without saying. But you know what? Event planners really don't care how you dress. They actually will tell you. And it depends on your audience. What's the number one rule in public speaking? Know your audience. So if I'm speaking to a bunch of suits, then I'm going to wear a suit. I'm not going to wear, a Hawaiian shirt on me. That's for sure. But if I'm speaking to millennials, they don't mind if I'm wearing a pair of jeans and a t-shirt because that's relatable to them. So you got to know your audience and how you're going to dress for success. It's up to you.
Excellent. Have you helped people get rid of fear of public speaking?
There are people that are speaking about that. I mean, I'm not the one to go to for that. I can help people to get over, overcome their fear of public speaking. But an organization like Toastmasters is made for that. And then there's a couple of coaches that are one of my best friends and clients. His name is Eduardo Placer, and he helps people get over the fear of public speaking. And also Isaac Ilbinovich. They're two clients of mine that actually help people get over the fear of public speaking.
Nice. Next question. Do you know what is needed to get a TED Talk? That's a great question.
What you need to know about TED Talk is that, and I'm actually being trained and being coached for that right now for next year. To give a TED Talk, you need to know that you need a big idea first. And that you don't need to think about what kind of speech to speak about. You just have to have a big idea. And when you pitch the big idea, they'll give you a coach to help you with structuring your speech, with delivering it, with practicing it. All that is given to you when you have the big idea. That's what they need to buy from you first, is your big idea. What is it?
Excellent. How important is social media for the modern public speaker?
Very important. Today, if event planners are looking at what kind of following do you have. If you only have 200 friends on Facebook, well, we got a problem there. That means you just started and you don't even know what you're doing yet. If you have 5,000 friends on Facebook, then at least you've been around for a little while and you know a little bit of how to work it. They do check your social media, especially your LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn profile has to reflect who you are as a speaker, not what you do for a job. Like, so if you're a financial planner and your goal through public speaking is to help people with financial planning, because you're not even allowed to solicit as a financial planner, and I'm only taking that as an example, the best thing to do is say that you're a public speaker, and that that you have a part of your knowledge or a part of your ex jobs, your current jobs, is to be a financial planner. But right now you're a public speaker and you show up as a public speaker, and that's really what they're looking at.
Wonderful. Another question regarding physical appearance. What happens if I am overweight or I have a self-esteem problem?
Okay, so it's really a great question. I used to weigh 428 pounds. And I'll tell you, because of my charisma, because of my knowledge, because of the way I carried myself, and even I'll tell you, fake it till you make it, and just act with confidence. Because what people buy is confidence. And if you bless you.
Thank you. Excuse me.
If you have confidence, people buy from you because of your confidence and your knowledge, not your confidence as a overweight person. I was an overweight person, and I still can command a room because of my charisma, because of my personality. Let the things that you have that are qualities that are amazing within you shine before you think about your exterior appearance, because what they really want to know is your personality, your charm, your knowledge. So these are things that nobody can buy and nobody can take away from you.
Excellent. Next question. Is it the same talking in Denver or in Texas?
It's the same talking anywhere in the world. It just depends on, you got to know your audience. That's all it is really about. And when you're hired to speak, you just have to ask certain questions from the event planner to know what it's going to take in their event to make you stand out, or how do they know that you did a good job? You can ask those questions and don't be shy. They'll tell you.
You've been talking about event planners. That's my question. You've been talking about event planners all night long, and they definitely play a key role in this industry, right? Okay, good. So you were smart enough to go after them and talk to thousands of them, which is amazing. I mean, I really want to know the name of your book.
Well, we're still working on it, but it's going to
Okay.
blow the industry apart. The event planners are going to love me, and seasoned speakers are going to hate me, but that's okay. I'm basically shining a light on the backstage of public speaking. It's something like pulling the curtains on public speaking.
So do you think, so our audience, Mindalia TV's audience, do you think that they will see your book when? At the end of this year, the beginning?
Probably in the end of this year or beginning of next year.
Wow, so it's pretty cooked already.
Oh, because yeah, I've been working on it for 4 years, interviewing a lot of event planners. So my goal is to get to 4,000 interviews, which I'm pretty much almost there. And once I finish those, then I'll publish the book. It's a personal goal. It has nothing to do with where the book is at, and it is coming out. I also own a publishing house, so it's going to be easy to make it go through.
Oh, that's good. That's great. Out of those event planners, what are they looking for when they look for a public speaker?
They're looking at diversity. They're looking to, so here's a great statistic that I would like to share with you and your audience. If we put all the speakers in the world in one room, the beginners, those who are scared to speak but want to speak, those who are professional speakers, those who are seasoned speakers, those who are celebrity speakers, and we put them all in one room, only 1% are women. Women are needed in this industry. And if women don't step up, there's going to be a bigger lack later on. And with all the women you think you know are speakers, we're still just 1% in the industry. That's horrible. So I would encourage women to step up and share their story and share their talent and become public speakers.
Awesome. The last question. Can my kid be a public speaker? Oh my God. The question is if that person's kid can be the kid. So if a kid can be a public speaker.
Absolutely. They should go on YouTube and on TED, listening to all these 8-year-old and 7-year-old. I know a girl who's 8 years old or 9 years old, I believe. She has her own podcast. She has thousands of downloads of her podcast. I mean, she's amazing. She's interviewing adults. But how awesome is that for a kid to, you know what, kids today are encouraged, and those who have parents that encourage them to go after their dream. Yes, they can be public speakers. Yes, they can have a message, and certainly they can have some messages that can teach us, the adults, on how to be and not to take things too seriously. I guess that would be a good message.
Well, right now I'm tempted to ask you when is and where is your next gig? You know, when are you going to be speaking publicly? Because I'm sure that plenty of us would like to see you live on the stage. I'm sure that there's plenty of places online that where we can see you briefly, right?
Yes. Well, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll know where I am pretty much anytime. Sometimes I'm on podcasts and like TV shows like Mindalia TV, and thank you for having me. But I love that as well. I'm on webinars as well as seminars, as well as conferences all over the country, all over the world. Most of the time I speak in corporate America and corporate world, where I go into corporations and teach their sales force how to close a deal 98% of the time to increase their bottom line. So yes, it's not always public. It's not always in conferences. It's more in corporate conferences. So sometimes the public is not invited. It's within a corporation or within an industry. So but I do share all that on my social media. So if you follow me, then you'll know where I am. And if it's a place where you want to be, then you can.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I mean, it's been an amazing journey. Those last 50 something minutes, really. Orly, thank you so much. I've had so much fun, and I'm sure Mindalia TV's audience as well. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for doing everything that you're doing to change the world. I really thank you, and thank you for having me, of course.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And again, this is Angel Ribo with Mindalia TV. Thank you for being with us tonight, and we hope to see you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.